Hi everyone, this is Mindy Eggen and welcome back to my channel. I thought for today's video I would dig through my stash and use an oldie but a goodie from Gina K Designs. This is going to be one of my one-layer wonders that I like to create and just have some fun. The stamp set that I'm going to use today is Bold and Blooming from Gina K Designs, and as you can see, I haven't even used this yet. Now to start off with, I'm using a piece of layering white cardstock, and what I'm doing is folding up a piece of washi tape and I'm going to place this onto my glass surface so that my cardstock doesn't move around while I'm ink blending. To make this a one-layer card, I'm going to mask off the side of my card. So I'm using the Gina K Designs Masking Magic. I pulled out a full sheet and I am going to trim these into 1/4-inch strips. I want the full length of the Masking Magic so that it goes all the way around the sides. Now that I have all of my strips cut, I'm going to peel the backing off of that Masking Magic and I am going to place these around the edge of my cardstock. So I'm lining it up with the very edge as best as I can. Then I can just run my finger down it to attach it to the front of my card. Now Masking Magic is really great to use for this because it does not tear your cardstock. For instance, this one I aligned crooked, so I just peeled it back up and you can see it did nothing to my paper. This is a great masking paper to use. So I attached that to all 4 sides of my cardstock to create a little frame. Instead of layering my cardstock on top of a white panel, I'm going to have this white frame going around it. So now that my frame is masked off, I'm going to start with some ink blending starting at the top, and I'm using Wild Lilac as my first color using a blending brush. Then I'm going to come in with Passionate Pink, so I'm kind of working in sort of a rainbow order, just a little bit backwards. And when I'm blending, I normally will start off of the cardstock and work my way on. It's one of the reasons I really like to work on a slick surface like a glass mat or a silicone mat, something like that, because then my brush just glides onto the cardstock. So as I'm blending this Passionate Pink, I am going to work it up into the previous color. My next color I'm going to come in is Wild Dandelion, and these are all inks and blending brushes from Gina K Designs. Now your ink may look a little splotchy at first, but once everything is dry, it is going to be a beautifully smooth finish. This last color here is going to be Sea Glass, and this was a really light color, so I did have to go over it multiple times to get that light blue to really show up. So in order to kind of add a little bit more contrast to this, I'm going to bring in Blue Lagoon and just add it to the very bottom. Now, as you can see, as I worked my way down the cardstock, by overlapping the colors, I am creating those other colors in the rainbow, like the pink and the yellow is going to create the orange and so on. Then I can just carefully pick up the masking tape and peel this back away from the cardstock. It leaves such a crisp and beautiful edge, and my cardstock is left perfectly intact, no tears at all. I still have that washi tape underneath that is holding my cardstock to my glass surface, and to remove my cardstock, I'm just going to kind of twist and turn to let it, kind of give it a little give, and then I can pick it up, and my washi tape is stuck to the surface. So now here is my beautiful background that I'm going to stamp on. I'm going to bring that Bold and Blooming stamp set back in, and since this is a brand new stamp and my background is probably still a little wet, I'm going to use the transparency sheet that comes with my stamp set and place over the top of my cardstock, just so that it's protecting my surface while I'm placing my stamps down. As I was playing around with the alignment, I remembered I have this Misti Grid Transparency from Simon Says Stamp. And so this is a transparency that has grid lines on it and will help me align my sentiment straight on the front of the card. So I started working from the top and then working my way down. I laid out the first stamp set, just trying to make sure that my margins are even on each side, and then I could place my sentiment and then the lower portion of that image. I did kind of futz around with it quite a bit just to make sure everything was evenly proportioned. Once I was happy with that, I could pick that up with the door of the Misti, remove all of those transparencies. Now, because I had that Misti transparency grid, I really didn't need that transparency from the stamp set, but that is an option for you. Now I'm inking this up in the Obsidian ink from Altenew. It is a pigment ink, and that just kind of helps me so I'm not having to stamp multiple times. If my ink pads were fresh and juicy, I wouldn't have worried about it so much, but I really wanted to have this crisp impression right away off the bat. And I did get great results the first time, so I'm going to leave it. I did heat set this a little bit with my heat tool because pigment ink can stay wet longer. So then I'm coming in and I just put some of these clear dewdrops in a triangle tray. I laid them out about where I wanted them. Once I was happy with placement, I'm just taking my jewel picker and my Connect glue that I have in this little mini glue tube and attached my dewdrops to the card front. Little tongue twisted today, sorry about that. So that finishes off my card for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe go digging through your stamps to see if there's something that you could do that's similar to this and really get some more mileage out of our stamps that we've already purchased. Thank you so much for joining me today. Here are a few other videos I think you might enjoy.